Today we're going to be working on a camera that mimics behavior of what you'd see in Super Smash Bros. So it's going to try to keep all players in focus at once, but also while favoring the center of the level. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then we'll jump into getting it done. So as you can see, as the players move about the playfield, it does try to focus on where the majority of the players are, but it ignores them whenever they go too far away from the level. It's a good way to keep everything in focus while getting rid of what you don't really care about. So let's go ahead and start by laying out the level itself. Let me just move this back over, move this down. Okay, so I'm going to start a fresh scene. Get rid of that. Okay, so first thing we're going to add is just a 3D cube, and I'm going to make the scale to 8x. That's just to make it kind of look like a platform. I'm going to set the position to 0, 0, 0 just to get it in the center of the level. I'm going to go ahead and move it over a little, and then make sure it's highlighted and press Control D to duplicate. Just move it over and make another platform. I'm going to duplicate again, move it up, then I'm going to change the scale to 4x just to make a smaller platform, and then move it over again after duplicating. So this doesn't really mean anything, it's just for appearances. I'm going to go ahead and make another 3D object of a cube. I'm going to leave this at 1 by 1 by 1 scale. I'm going to zero out everything except the Z, which I'll do -1. So it's just a little bit in front of the level, that way you can track and see where it's going. I'm also going to rename this cube to player, as you can see in the top left. And I'm going to create a material for it. I'm just going to call the material player. And as you can see here where it's white, I'm just going to click that once. I'm going to pick a color for our player. And I'm going to go ahead and close out of the window. And then all I have to do is drag that material onto our player, and it makes it stand out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my player 2 more times. Just move them to random parts of the board. It doesn't really matter where. Now I'm going to make one more game object. This is just going to be an empty object. I'm going to call it level focus. I'm actually going to move it a little bit up just so it's kind of in the center of the level. So it's at x0, y 2.5, and z 0. So now what we have to do is make a movement script to move our players around. This is going to be really simple. It's going to be some randomized movement just so you can see the camera work. So go ahead and create a new script. Let's just call it move randomly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open that script up. So I'm going to go ahead and keep update, and I'm going to change this to awake. Okay, I'm going to need a couple vector 3s here. This is going to be the start position. So I'm going to keep this one the same throughout the entire script. It's just going to be where the object starts at. Next one's going to be a vector 3 destination, where it's moving to. And last one's going to be move speed. So pretty basic stuff. So right away I'm going to set the start position to where my object is. Okay, so I need to make a coroutine here. And this is just going to be a method that fires occasionally to change the direction of the object. So again, this isn't necessary code at all, it's just for testing. So in here, I'm going to put vector 3 start position equals new vector 3 start position dot x, start position dot y, dot z. If you don't create a new vector and you try to modify, like add on to the original start position, it's going to actually modify the global variable up here. That's going to be problematic because we don't want that to change. I could set it to read only and do other things, but I'm not going to get into coding ethics right now. We're just going to leave it as is. So then we're going to change our destination equals the new start position we just made plus a new vector 3. And we're just going to do a random range. We'll say -15 to 15 on the x. We'll say -7 to 20 on the y. That's probably good. Okay, so now we're going to do a random move speed between 5 and 15. And then we're going to yield return, new wait for seconds. Whoops, wait for seconds. There we go. And we'll do another random just to make the movement more sporadic. So every 2 to 5 seconds this will update. And then we're going to call it again. And then under awake, I'm going to call it again. So what we have here is this is going to fire off immediately, changing the destination and the move speed, and then it's going to fire anywhere from 2 to 5 seconds afterwards. So now under update, we just need to get our current position. And then we need to update to our new position using the move towards. And I'll explain in more detail what I'm doing when I actually get to the camera script. So if you're not understanding this part, don't worry about it. Like I said, it's just a temporary thing. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Go back to Unity. And I'm going to add my script to all my players here. And I'm going to save my scene. You may have noticed I had a move random movement one on there. That's just the old script. I made this yesterday and now I'm showing you how I did it today. So if you play, as you can see, they're moving around pretty sporadically. The camera's not following yet, obviously, because we haven't set that up. But as you see, we got the movement, we have the level layout. Now let's go ahead and move on to the camera script.